Hello and welcome to the Aviva Premiership Round 17 predictions brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, a YouTube channel, a podcast, a Twitter account and a website bringing you the best in rugby predictions and opinion. This and today, for a change, these aren't just going to be me blabbering on at you on my own. I have got a man who probably watches more Aviva Premiership rugby than anybody else. It is Miles. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, very well, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much for having me on the show. Yep, I'm Miles, Aviva's official rugby fan, going to games each weekend and really bringing other fans special content that they can't find anywhere else. So whether that's going to the elite games or looking at the grassroots level of the sport and trying to showcase what rugby is all about.
What a professional. He's got his whole patter down straight away as to what he covers. And what an amazing gig he's got. Let's be honest, a professional fan. He gets paid to go and watch rugby and then also gets behind the scenes access as well. Fantastic stuff. So check out his Twitter account. It's in the notes down below and you'll get all of the stuff there. I'm sure at the end he'll tell us other places where you can get stuff as well. But first off, before we go any further, the beast from the east. Are we going to have any rugby this weekend?
Absolutely. I think it was going to be some really exciting contests this weekend. Despite no Six Nations, I think, each team is going to miss its big stars. So I think the likes of, Harlequins versus Bath that come up first, I think, Harlequins are going to lack
any rugby.
Oh,
what about the weather? Here I am down in New Zealand. I'm in shorts and t-shirt. It's still summertime. And I've just got a great photo from the Loose Head showing a pitch covered in snow. And so, Brent on the live chat goes -10 in the UK today. Wow. I mean, it's a bit chilly over there, I believe.
Yeah, you're quite right. I'm supposed to be on my way over to Exeter later on to see their media session. And I'm not sure whether it's going to even be possible to get out onto the roads. It's pretty bad here. I was at Sale at the weekend and that was also very, very cold.
Now, obviously, earlier, I can't remember if it was earlier this year or if it was at the end of last year, Saracens had to cancel because they had fans, couldn't safely get to the games. But at the moment,
against Clermont.
Yeah, against Clermont. So at the moment, are all the games on, or do we have, or is there a prospect of cancellations? Do you think?
At present, every game seems to be on as scheduled. I'm sure, as we get close to the weekend, we may hear otherwise. But at present, clubs are putting up their domes, covering the pitches, and it looks like everything's going to go ahead.
Fabulous. And that is part of what has happened recently. Is there's been a lot of investment in these grounds. Obviously, you can see that blatantly at places like Saracens and Worcester, who have got the artificial pitches. So then they'll be fine and they'll just sweep off the snow and off you go. Places like Exeter have gone and Wasps have got themselves the hybrid pitches now with the sewn-in plastic that holds it together, just like Twickenham has got. Even with the bad conditions, I think it's going to be good underfoot. We're still going to have some good footing and good pitches. We don't need to worry about waterlogged pitches or pitches in a mess and big mud baths, except for maybe down at Bath, where at the Rec, where they've still not had a chance to upgrade theirs, but that's coming in the next couple of seasons. And luckily, they're playing away this weekend. And as you were starting off on, they're up at Quins, and Quins have been through an absolute shocker recently, haven't they?
Yeah, big time. I think Harlequins are one of those sides, though, that struggle the most with the England international players going away. Great side, they always commit to their academy, but this is the time of the year when they lose out most. Yeah,
and in their latest run, they obviously lost away on the road to Sale Sharks. I mean, it's a close one. Then I think it was that loss at home to Wasps that has kind of derailed them, and that was a big loss. I think big demoralising loss. Up till then, they'd had a good home record.
Absolutely, yeah. Now they've slipped to 4 straight Aviva Premiership defeats. That's hard to come back from, and they have slipped down the table now.
And before that, they'd only lost at home one game, which was against Tigers back in September, and now they've lost their last 2 at home, Wasps and Falcons. I mean, Falcons again, not necessarily a side that's generally renowned as travellers, going down there and winning by 18 points. I mean, it's not even a small victory. It's not even close, is it?
No, that's a big margin. And yeah, Newcastle are probably the surprise of the season. They've been playing some really good rugby, and I think now that Dean Richards has been there for a few years, he's kind of getting his style of play, and they're coming to the fore this season.
Yep. Bath, they obviously had that run of injuries, which saw them lose a string of games, but they've bounced back well now. Big wins over Worcester Warriors, Northampton Saints, both by over 20 points before they travelled up to Newcastle and lost. So I'd say Newcastle playing well though, and then you've got that narrow 1-point win at home to Sale. So they're actually going pretty well at the moment, up to 5th in the table. Are they going to come away with a nice victory from Harlequins, do you think?
I think so. With the likes of James Wilson back at fly half, I understand he's actually 4th choice, but having spoken to him after the game, he just oozes confidence, and I think he's a player that, he's got size behind him and he leads from the front. So I'm backing Bath to win this one by 7 points.
By 7 points. I'm a little bit less optimistic. I'm going Bath by 5 points. But yeah, ever since that demoralising Wasps loss at home, Harlequins have looked totally out of control. They're probably they really need to turn that round. I'm not sure if their coach can do that, but we'll have to see. I say, yeah, backing Bath by 5. Next up, the place you're supposed to be heading to, which is Sandy Park, top of the table clash. Exeter hosting Saracens.
Really looking forward to this one. Sorry, Paul.
No, go for it. So,
no, absolutely. Yeah, very much so. Really looking forward to this one. As you say, it's top of the Premiership clash. Both sides have been inconsistent in the last few weeks, so it's really almost a test of their character. Again, Saracens are missing players, but so are Exeter. But at home with their crowd, I'm really expecting Exeter to come out on top on this one.
So you say you're going down there for press day. Are you also down there for the game itself?
I am, yeah. Saturday, which is supposed to be a really good one. Might be a little cold, but no, really looking forward to this one. And I think Exeter, very optimistic on this one. 12 points, I think.
Wow. Okay, so I'm wearing my Exeter jersey. I'm an Exeter fan. But let's be honest, as you say, their recent form has been shaky. They lost away to Falcons. They lost at home to Worcester Warriors. Worcester Warriors, second from bottom in the league. They lost at home to them 5-6. Not a great game, let's be honest.
No.
Lost away to Wasps before beating Northampton Saints by a single point at home. Saints have been in free fall this season. They're down in 10th place. Lost to 11th, only beat 10th by 1 point. Exeter really are not in a good shape at the moment. On the flip side, Saracens got done over at home by Tigers. Again, another Tigers who slipped down the table. Saracens getting done over at home. That just doesn't happen, does it?
No, hardly at all. I mean, they had a 5-game winning run until that match, and many people might say you're almost daft to back Exeter in this one, as you say, given their current form. But there's something about Exeter at home, and Saracens, as you saw earlier in the season, once their head gets down, it can affect them.
Yeah, and Exeter beat Saracens by 2 points when they travelled up there back in November. So I'm also going to go for Exeter purely on home form, but not with the confidence you have. I'm only backing Exeter by 3. I think that's going to be a real tight battle there. And I'll tell you, that's a theme that I've got going through this week. I think there are going to be a lot of tight games this week where they could go either way. Because you've got next up, Saints versus Sale Sharks. Saints, as we just said, going through having a shocking season down in 10th, but they only lost by 1 point to Exeter. They won the previous week, so it looks like they have. They've won the last 2 home games actually against Gloucester and London Irish. So it looks like they have turned a corner a bit, even if they are still down in 10th place.
Yeah, I mean, Northampton are one of those sides, aren't they? They can beat anyone on their day, but they are just, they've had a lot of change this season, and I think so far they're struggling with that. With Alan Gaffney coming in, he seems to have turned the team around, and I think they're on the rise once again. That, as you said, against Exeter, they were leading for most of that match, and it was only right at the death that Exeter really proved that they are the champions, and they came back with that grit and determination. So I think against a side like Sale, who again, they've been hit and miss this season, I think Northampton are going to win at home. Well,
Sale are one of these teams that they've only won twice away from home, to London Irish, who, let's be honest, are relegated already, and to Worcester Warriors, who are second from bottom. So the only 2 times they've won away have been against the bottom 2 teams. Now, okay, they're playing the bottom third team Can they slowly climb their way up the table with their away victories? I'm not so sure. Yeah. Again, Sale Sharks at home, a different beast to when they're away, out of their pool, as it were. Oh, what a bad joke. So I'm backing Saints by 3 in this one as well.
In terms of score predictions, I think Saints by 7, so very close on that one.
Yep, still only the single score in it. Then we go to Gloucester versus Newcastle Falcons. Here we have a team. Gloucester have not lost at home all season, so an easy home victory?
Do you know what? This one's hard to call because of the European Challenge Cup and Gloucester's defeat to Poe. I think you really saw that's largely based on the fans, and when the fans aren't behind the team, they struggle. And Gloucester had that 7-game unbeaten run at the start of the season, but now, it's win 1, lose 1, and as we said earlier, Newcastle are a different beast. So this is, for me, probably the closest game of the entire weekend. But I think, again, home form will prevail and Gloucester will win by 7 points.
So, again, this is one that I found nearly impossible to call. Falcons have won 7 of their last 8 games. The only game they haven't won has been on the road at Saracens, which, as we say, is a place very few teams go and win. So it's no surprise they would lose where Saracens been. They beat Exeter at home. They have also travelled and done the double over Quins in those 8 games. So I looked at this one and went, well, how can you not back a side that's only lost once in the last 8? But as we say, Gloucester haven't lost at home, and they had one draw against Wasps last weekend. Are we going to see another draw? Yeah, very unlikely. I'm going to go with Gloucester by 3 again, but I think that's in some ways too tight to call. Next up, we head into Sunday or Monday morning, my time. Worcester Warriors hosting Leicester Tigers. Worcester, I think that lost to Irish, has that put them back in the relegation battle, or do you think they've still got too many points in hand?
I was there for the London Irish Worcester game, and Worcester just weren't at the races on that day, but that's very unlike them. I mean, they've had 5 wins in the Aviva Premiership so far this season, and that's all been in the last 9 rounds. They beat Leicester at Leicester. Not many sides do that, and I think Worcester could do this. Leicester have been struggling again this season, and I think this weekend is a really hard one to call. I do think Leicester are going to come away with Matt Tamua playing at 10. Leicester look revitalised, and I can't see Worcester getting past that, unfortunately. So Leicester by 10 points, but it's going to be a close one.
By 10 points, but it'll be close. So by 2 scores, but it'll be close.
It's going to be all about the packs, I think.
Don't worry, we can give you a fence on. It'll be absolutely fine. You'll be comfortable on there. Look at Leicester's recent record. You say they've turned it around. Matt Tamua's looking good. They beat Irish at home. They lost to Gloucester away, but as you said, Gloucester never lose at home. They beat Quins comfortably, and then they went to Saracens and beat Saracens at home, which is fantastic. Worcester, until the Irish game, were looking good. They got the win over Exeter. They got a win over Gloucester. They've pulled themselves 12 points clear of London Irish, and perhaps they're just a bit too comfortable now because they are safe. They aren't going to go down, and maybe that has taken a bit of the fire out of their belly. I'm also backing Leicester. I think Leicester by 3. I think it's been a lot closer than you think.
I mean, as you say, I think teams often struggle against the teams they assume they can beat, and I think that was exactly the case for Worcester. They saw London Irish below them and thought this might be an easy 5 points for us, and London Irish just came at them, and I think they'll have learned their lesson this week. Yeah, and let's be honest,
Worcester have not gone into any games this season as favourites, well, except perhaps the return fixture at London Irish in the first place, but that one really did matter. At home against London Irish, it's unusual territory for them to walk into a game as favourites. Maybe they got a bit of their mentality wrong going into that one. And then the final game of the round sees Wasps versus London Irish. Wasps up to 3rd in the table. You've got to say this has got home victory written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately for London Irish, they did beat Worcester, but Wasps at home. I think they've only lost one of the last 10 Premiership matches at the Ricoh Stadium. They're not going to go down easily, and they want that top 4 spot, so they're going to be more aggressive than ever. And unfortunately, London Irish are the side that are going to receive that backlash.
Yeah, they've only lost one of the last 10 games. Not 10 games at home. They lost to Saracens, and they've lost to Bath at home. So they've lost, but yeah, they've only lost one of their last 10 games. There has been that draw at Gloucester last weekend as well. That loss was the Saracens, who. So again, one of the team. The Wasps seem to have a bogey team. I mean, Saracens are a good team; they beat most teams, but Wasps really seem to struggle against Saracens, for considering they're a top side. So with Wasps picking up that victory, which can we see? Can we now say that that the top 3, sort of Exeter, Saracens, Wasps, are pretty much nailed on for the playoffs?
I think so. Exeter, unfortunately, they had those 2 games where they were ahead by 10 points in the table, and Saracens clawed right back. But I don't think that's going to happen again. Wasps are finding their form, and it's all about 4th spot. Last week it was 5 points between 4th and 8th. Now it's even tighter. So yeah, I definitely top 3, but 4th place, that's hard to call. You've got Gloucester, Newcastle, Sale could even come up. Leicester. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, so just for those of you who haven't seen the table, Exeter on 57 points, 4 points ahead of Saracens in 53, who are 3 points ahead of Wasps in 50. And if the predictions go the way that we've suggested, that means Wasps will be overtaking Saracens, or at least even on points with them at the end of this weekend. We've then got Newcastle, Bath, and Gloucester in 4th, 5th, and 6th, all on 44 points, with Leicester Tigers just 2 points back on 42 points in 7th. Sale Sharks 6 points off that sort of that group on 38 points. I think with their away record, it's probably a bit too much to ask for Sale Sharks to climb back into the top 4, but in top 6 is possible if a couple of the others falter along the way. And then below that we have Quins on 32 points, quite a big gap between Sale and Quins. So I think the bottom 4 are probably going to stay there, with Quins, Saints, Worcester Warriors, and London Irish. Obviously, London Irish going to be relegated down there. So that's how the table is. So, Colin, I'm going to put in it. So we both agree. I think that Exeter, Saracens, and Wasps will qualify. Out of Falcons, Bath, Gloucester, and Tigers, who is going to be that 4th place? So put your colours to the mast on the mast, and we'll come back and review it at the end of the season. Who are you going to go for?
Excellent. Me personally, I think Bath. I think Bath are going to do it. Gloucester, they're looking really good under Johan Ackermann, but I think top 6, that was their season's ambitions. That's where they'll be. Next season they might be in that top 4, but I think they're just going to lose out this season. Again, Newcastle, similar situation, I think. They're playing great home and away. Their home form has been fantastic this season, and more so than usual, they're able to travel. But Bath, they know what they're doing. They're used to being in the top 4, and I think that experience is just going to show, especially with the likes of Talupe Faletau coming back from injury, and Reece Priestland and Freddie Burns all yet to come back. I think they're going to have a late surge to the end of the season.
I'm going to disagree. I think that history of Bath knowing about being in the top 4 is so long ago now that I'm not sure any of their players were there at that time. It's Gloucester, their away form just is not good enough to get into that top 4. Tigers, too shaky. So I'm actually going to say that Falcons are going to be in there at the end. So I'm going to back Falcons as to be the surprise package to go all the way. A bit like Scarlets and Connacht have done in the Pro 14 over the last couple of seasons. So I think, yeah, that's my job. I don't think they'll actually go ahead and win it, but I think they'll make the playoffs. So yeah, a little competition between the two of us. Perhaps we'll have a little chat again towards the end of the season as to see who actually got the playoff ones right. So let people know where they can get hold of you and find all your wonderful behind the scenes stuff.
Yes, so, Paul, everything I do, whether it's the grassroots or the elite level, is put on at Aviva Rugby Fan on Twitter and Instagram. And we're also going to have a blog on the Aviva website, which talks about all the amazing things, you know, what mixed ability rugby is all about, what happens in wheelchair rugby, deaf rugby, blind rugby. There's so many different formats of this wonderful game. And my objective is really to look at all of them and kind of just celebrate, you know, the diversity that rugby brings.
And I mean, mixed ability rugby is fantastic. I've just gone blank as to who the team out of Wales that I did a show with. I went and saw them play when they were over here on for the Lions tour, and it was great stuff to watch them play and then have a few beers with them in the bar afterwards. If you can get down to mixed ability game, do. And basically anybody who's willing to take a tackle is welcome to play in those games. So please give that a look. So thank you, Miles, for joining me. Obviously, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul. At DrivingMaul on Twitter is where you can find me for a good old chat, or down below on in the notes if you're watching on the video. If you're on the podcasting app, if you're also listening to a podcast, please do obviously subscribe through your podcasting app. There's going to be a picture there on the recording. Click on that to subscribe on YouTube. There'll be a box there with my next video. So do click on that and watch some more stuff and enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend, however cold or warm it might be.